Frank Trigg with MMA Oddsbreaker. Of course, that's Sam Oropeza getting ready to fight Andrey Koreshkov coming up here on Bellator, April 4th. Sam, it's been you've been quite a ride lately. If you go back and look at your record, at least according to the internet, you've been, well, let's be honest, you've basically been destroying fools. Submission, TKO, 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 TKO. That's your last 6 fights.
Yeah, man, been on a tear, been on a run. Got the right team behind me, man, and you'll see after I lost in 2011, I've been on a streak because I got the right people behind me now finally, and it feels great.
Yeah, you started out with 4 fights, a 4-fight win streak, starting in 2009 all through 2010. You lost once in 2010 to Miles Jury, which is obviously a great fighter. Then you get one more win. Then that last loss you had, which is May of 2011, and just been crushing it since then. I mean, it's kind of, on one hand, you want to go, well, the quality competition, is it the, is it the ranking, is it the weight, you have all these excuses. But you look at how you're beating guys up and guys you're beating, like Cristiano Souza, the last guy you fought in Bellator. Great striker himself. Like an amazingly good striker, tough kid. I trained with him for a long time. Like I know this kid.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, don't worry about it. Sousa's got it. It's fine. And you waxed him. I was like, what the hell? Like it's just there's very few times when I watch a fight happen that I'm completely surprised. That was one of those times I got completely surprised. I was not expecting that to happen. I thought, Sam could win, but he's not gonna knock out Cristiano. He's not gonna crush him. And you just smashed him. Like you absolutely smashed him.
That's pretty cool. Thank you, Frank. Yeah, man, it's after my one Bellator fight in I think it was when I fought Shedrick in Bellator, I actually broke my leg in the fight, man. So after that fight, I really I couldn't really kick, just because I didn't want to hurt myself and everything like that. And I just worked on developing punching power. And those last 2 fights, against Chip Pollard was a left hook knockout, and this one was a right hook. So finally starting to develop that knockout power, something that I've wanted since I started training, but it takes a while to develop it. You just, I wasn't born with it. I had to work hard for it.
Well, let's step off topic for a second. I want to ask you a question because you are a guy that broke your foot in a fight and had to make an adjustment after. You've seen the Anderson Silva fight.
Yeah.
We've seen all the video footage. All of us are following along as he's getting ready, he's preparing, and he's back in the gym, and he's walking and doing all this stuff with his leg. Let's talk about the mental aspect because you've gone through it yourself. The mental game of now trying to kick, knowing the last time you kicked, you broke your foot, it broke your leg. Is Anderson going to be a different, in your opinion, do you think Anderson's mentally is going to be a different kicker when he comes back?
You know what? Anderson Silva has always been my favorite fighter, and I admire him. And the thing that I hated about watching his leg break is, I'm not saying he's old, but I know your body, all the kicks he's thrown in his lifetime and his age, his body's going to heal a lot differently than it probably would have when he was a 20-something-year-old kid. But I think mentally, when you break your leg like that and it looks like a wet piece of spaghetti hanging there, man, I think mentally it's going to change him. And that's his left kick, man. That's like the kick that's his kick. He's a lefty. He throws a hard left kick. I know he can kick hard with his right leg, but I think that's definitely going to change him. I think we're going to see a totally different style from Anderson Silva when he comes back.
You came out and you became more dangerous because obviously now you have knockout power. They're still fearing your kicks even though you're not throwing them as much or as hard. But your knockout power switched up the game entirely of how people have to train for you. Do you think the same thing will happen to you for Anderson Silva? That he'll switch up and all of a sudden now, well, he already has knockout power. We've seen it in his hands before. But do you think he'll be more dangerous hand-wise? Or do you think age and injury has factored in too much and he'll be a little bit less of a fighter than he was? In your opinion, we don't know until it actually happens.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'll never count Anderson Silva out. The guy's amazing. He's a legend in the sport. He's incredible. What he's done, who's gonna accomplish what he's done? But it's weird to say because the guy, he can submit you, he can do everything. So, I'm more excited to see what's going to happen as opposed to predicting what I think is going to happen. I'm excited to see, maybe it's going to make him better or, I don't want to say it, but it'll be sad to see if we watch Anderson Silva, the last time he'll ever be in the top 10 or ever be a world champion.
In my opinion, I think he's going to come back in. He's going to be like, well, I'm tired of hitting people in the head. I'm going to start doing a lot more wrestling. I'm going to take guys down. I'm going to submit them. I think we'll see a lot of submission finishes with Anderson. He's just going to start submitting fools left and right, and that's going to be the new game. He's like, I'm just tired of hitting people. I'm over it. So now I'm going to submit you.
You see it a lot, man. There's a lot of guys that we all have the mentality as a fighter, like you want to go out there and you want to knock a guy out, man. But when you get an injury, when you break a leg, when you break a hand, you start becoming a good wrestler. When you get hit hard in the fight, man, you turn into a jiu-jitsu guy real fast, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I can't wait to knock this guy out. I can't wait to knock him out. All of a sudden you get hit and the back of your knees go numb a little bit. You're like, oh, I'm shooting. I'm taking him down. I'm going to, game changes. Yeah.
I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu now.
Yeah, you're like, oh, look, my pinky's stinging a little bit. I must have got hit. Yeah, I got to take him down. It's time to get over. Yeah. Well, first, let's back up a little bit. You talked about getting a new team after your last loss in Bellator. What changed for your team? You see, now you have a new team. You got the right team behind you. What changed? What coaching staff? What nutrition? Like, what happened during that time frame?
This is the term that I use. You know what I mean? And I told this to my coach. You want to go where you're celebrated and not tolerated. You know, where I was training at, I was being tolerated. And you know what? My trainers, they were good people, but they weren't ready to take me to that next level. And there's nothing against them. They ran a great gym. They ran a great school. But my desire was to be a world champion, you know, and I can't expect anybody to take me there except myself. Right. And I think you attract what you want into your life. You know, if you send out that energy into the universe, the people are going to start coming to you. And I've been blessed to Robert Navone is my head coach now, and I've been very lucky to have him in my life. And since I've been working with him, everything has changed. You know, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting faster, I'm getting better, and I'm happy, man. Like every day I show up to the gym, there's excitement in the air. There's everything you need when you're preparing for a fight.
It's funny you say that because I've been going through some stuff in my life. Like 2014, I said, look, I'm just going to change up what I'm doing. If a person makes me miserable, they're out of my life. I can't. Even for friends, I can't have you around because you make me miserable. I'm not competing anymore, but that's like a life lesson for everybody. It's like, if you can't wake up every morning being happy, then what the hell are you doing? If you're miserable dealing at this job, or you're miserable dealing with your partner, or if you're miserable dealing with this car, then just change it. Just switch it up. We're an individual sport. It's just you on Friday and Saturday nights. It's just you getting hit in the head. If you don't have confidence in your team, your coaching staff to put you together the whole training camp, it doesn't work. Obviously for you, it completely changed your entire mentality because it wasn't just, hey, I was winning, I lost a couple, and now I'm winning again. It was a complete switch in how you fought and how you trained, and your mentality, your foot motion. You obviously mentioned your power, but also your ringmanship, your understanding of what goes on inside the cage changed as well. Do you guys spend a lot of time working on this scenario if you're against the cage, how to get off the cage, this scenario if you're chasing them, how to step in front? Like, because it seemed like when you made that coaching staff change, that your ringmanship was the biggest significant increase in how you fought because now you knew where the guy was going long before he ever got there.
And, absolutely, and that's what I believe takes a good coach and makes it a great coach, and that's why I believe my coach Robert Navone is a great coach because when we're training for a fight, he's watching videos on me on how this guy's going to beat me. You know, I've never had that aspect of a coach being like, you know, this is how this guy's going to try beating you, you know. And we obviously game plan on how to beat the guy we're fighting. But, yeah, it's when you have that confidence going into the fight. And like I said, it's not a cockiness, but it's that confidence, you know. It's like a fighter, you need that confidence. I believe that in fighter pilots because when you lose, you really lose. You know what I mean? You need that confidence. So going into there, you like you said, the ringmanship has been a big difference because now for the first time in my past couple of fights, I'm not fighting for my life when I'm in there. I'm able to see openings. I'm able to, when we drill something as many times as we do it, it almost became second nature. It's almost like I can close my eyes, and I'm not saying that like I'm Luke Skywalker, but when you drill something as often as we do and work on it as often as we do, you almost can do it in your sleep. You know what I mean? So the past couple of fights, we knew the openings we were going to get, and we were patient for them. And when it was time to take them, we took them.
You said something that we did from a very, very long time ago that we did as wrestlers throughout college and on the U.S. team. And not only are we going to figure out how we're going to beat this guy using our technical skill, but also how is this guy going to try to beat us with his technical skill?
Yeah.
And it's a little scary when you go in and go, this guy's going to beat you with this tech, going to beat you in this space because this is where you're weak, and you're going to have to go, yeah, I am weak there. This is my problem. This is my flaw space. I now have to fix this flaw space, and it's hard as an athlete to go, yeah, I suck in that area. Let me fix it so I don't get beat in that space because it is hard to go. I've worked so hard to be in this space. I've worked so hard to get to this level. I've worked so hard to be this champion that I am, but I still suck over here. Like this is not any good.
It makes you a better person when you can take. It's funny, man, because I can take criticism so well now since I started fighting. And you run into people, man. You tell them something they don't want to hear, and their whole day's ruined. So it's like. Yeah. My coaches are up front with me. They're honest with me. If something's not good, they tell me. You know what I mean? If I'm doing something wrong, they let me know. So it's good to know when you have the time to fix it. You know what I mean? It's scary when you're a day away from your fight and someone's telling you you're doing everything wrong. So
and we're not talking about being mean and evil about how you're telling somebody talk. Just for the folks at home, we're not saying like, oh yeah, you're an a-hole and screw you and whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about constructive criticism. Somebody comes up to you in the street and is like, hey, I think you should try to do this thing. Think about it. They could be right. They might be wrong, but they could be right. Like, there might be a better way to do this thing. And as an athlete, we have to do that every single day. The coach walks in and goes, no, your pinky needs to go there. No, pinky over there. Nope, your thumb over there. Nope, thumb up. No, thumb up. No, thumb up. You're like, I don't understand, coach. Why are you nitpicking on me? Because this punch for you is better this way than it is this way. It's just how it works. Everybody's got a different way of doing it, but you've got to listen and pay attention and be open to changing up your mindset and your mind.
And Frank, you fought all over the world. You fought the best fighters in the world. You've fought in the best organizations in the world, probably trained with guys that I can only dream of being able to train with. And you find out, like, when you're in there fighting, the littlest detail, the littlest inch that you missed could determine whether you win or lose. You know what I mean? So you need to know those details.
It is absolutely down to every little. When I coach, I have a gym in downtown LA, and I coach 2 nights a week down there. And the guys get mad at me because, like, this is so boring. It's the same technique 1,000 times. I teach one move, and we go over that move the entire class. And the last 20 minutes, we go live. And, like, I don't understand why we're doing this. And you get the one kid that kind of pays attention the whole time, and he's struggling, not very athletic, kind of dumpy, like, what the hell? But then all of a sudden, he gets on every kid in class. Like, he gets to start for the day because he used the technique of the day on everybody. Like, that's why I stick with technique. That's why, because this is what works. It's what's going to transfer across.
It's going to win you the fight, too, man. When you go back to your corner and that little detail they showed you won you the fight, it's a good feeling, man.
Are you a big listener to your corner during the fight? Like, I know you have your game plan. It's loud, and people are screaming and yelling. It's tough. Some fighters, like, I'm a guy that goes in. I hear very little when I'm fighting. I hear very little from my corner. It's in between rounds when I get my new information that this is what I got to do, this is what I got to do. That's why I get the biggest information. I get very little things during the actual round because I can't hear. Are you a guy that can hear and you pay attention and make adjustments during the round off of what your coaches are telling you, or do you wait till in between the rounds?
The great thing now is, like, I fought on smaller shows for a very long time, and the thing with me is I sell a lot of tickets on the small shows. So on the small venues that I would fight at, I couldn't hear anything. It was so loud with your friends yelling, rip his head off and everything like that and kill him. But now, since I've been in the Bellator shows and everything, that's the great thing, because I need to hear my corner. And if you watch my last couple of fights on TV, you'll hear my coach, Robert. You have to hear him. He's like the loudest corner person on the planet.
It's either him or Longo and Sarah. It's like between Robert, Longo, and Sarah.
He very reminds me of Matt Serra, like the way you hear Matt Serra. But I need that. I need to hear that. And these past couple of fights, I've been able to hear my corner, which has made the biggest difference. When I'm in between rounds, my mind's racing. Like, when I went in between rounds, I need to hear it while I'm fighting more than when time stops. You know what I mean? Because when I'm there, I'm almost thinking, like, okay, I got to get up and fight. You know what I mean? And then you kind of look around, you're like, oh, crap, people are talking to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's kind of wild.
Well, thanks for coming on here, Sam. I'm sorry I kept you. I promised your manager I'd only keep you on here for 8 minutes, and we doubled that time. So I apologize for keeping you on here longer than we're supposed to.
No, I got nothing but time today, Frank. I really appreciate it, man. It's an honor to be able to talk with you. And I don't know if you remember me. This is actually our second interview. When I fought for King of the Cage, I got to meet you and interview with you, and it's always a pleasure. So
I remember. I absolutely do remember that. And that's why I kept hunting. I kept calling. It was like, I got to get. That was the Miles Jury fight.
It was.
And I kept hitting up your man. Look, I got to get a hold of this kid. I want to get a hold of him. He's like, what? Well, I have him call you. And like 2 days went by. Like, he hasn't called me yet. What the hell? I want to get a hold of this guy. So you were traveling, getting out here. You're in Vegas right now. You're down the street from
Vegas
me,
right now.
And
I'm fighting Reno Friday.
But why did you come out? Why did you come out here to train in Vegas as opposed to going someplace else the last little bit?
My past 3 fights, we've been since I've been working with my coach. My coach lives in Vegas, and he's from the East Coast, so I've been getting to go to all the big gyms out in Vegas, man, and I just love it here, man. It really is the fight capital of the world. I mean, you want to – when Arnold Schwarzenegger wanted to be the best bodybuilder in the world, he went to Venice Beach. I think to be the best fighter in the world, you have to be in Vegas.
Where are you training when you're in Vegas? What camps do you go to?
We were at Extreme Couture the other day. I went to Syndicate. I went to Robert Drysdale Jiu-Jitsu. I've been to Floyd Mayweather's boxing gym. Just kind of – I mean, I'm a big fan. And Fight Capital, Fight Capital too. Yep. And it's just awesome to get the whole tour.
So when I first moved to Vegas, Fight Capital, back then it was called JSAC. Same place though. Skipper was there, and John Lewis ran it. Yeah, there was. That's where I started before Randy opened up his gym, and I was at Couture's the whole time. But yeah, you hit all the major spots. Like there wasn't one gym that you could have gone to that was any better than the ones you went to. Like
the only place that I'd say is like my favorite is Dewey Cooper's garage. Man, that's like you know what I mean. You work hard. You're under the eye of Dewey Cooper, so it's not a gym, but I mean I'm getting the work I need.
Yeah, and Dewey's another one of the guys. He has the same philosophy that we do. It's all about the small technique, the little nuances, little thing that works, and that's why Dewey was able to fight way longer than he should have. Like he fought way longer than he should have with his athletic ability because he was so technical.
And against guys who were way bigger than him too, man.
A lot bigger, yeah, a lot bigger. Sometimes 50% larger. So, all right, Sam. Well, thanks. I appreciate you coming on MMA Oddsbreaker. Good luck coming up here this Friday night. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Awesome. Thank you, Frank.
You got it.